This segment of the Alice Stewart Show is brought to you by The Countertop Store, Central Arkansas's premier countertop authority. For custom fabrication and installation of granite, tile, laminate, copper, and more. The Countertop Store, 888-510-4773.
And we're back. 722 Young Guns this morning. Jack Avery, who is Young Republicans of Arkansas chairman, and Rich Products Corporation key account manager. And Josh Blevins, former Young Democrat of Arkansas president and Blevins Investment Group chairman. We're going to talk about a big issue. I think young folks are interested in this, and old people like me are as well. We have all of these foreign policy issues going on around the world, world conflicts, and specifically dealing with the Israel and Hamas back and forth. And there's a ceasefire one moment, and then Hamas fires the next moment, and they have a day of a ceasefire, and then they don't. And the latest report is a ceasefire between the two ended after rockets were fired and hitting civilian areas, and it's just an intense situation. And it's basically more on the crisis in the Middle East. What we're seeing now is celebrities weighing in, whether they are anti-Israel, whether they are pro-Palestinian, but really the bad guys in this are Hamas. And it's not the Palestinians, it is the Hamas that controls that region. Yet Penelope Cruz decided to weigh in on this, and via a letter in Spanish newspapers, she stepped into a political firestorm and became high-profile celebrities against Israel's action in the Middle East. And they signed a letter, but they called it genocide, what Israel's action was, calling it genocide, and signing a letter demanding a ceasefire. Your thoughts on this? Josh, we'll start with you on celebrities weighing in on these types of world conflicts.
Well, firstly, I think we should say, regardless of how you feel about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, that what the action that the Israelis have taken is not genocide. I think, in my mind, that's a factual matter. It doesn't meet any definition of that word whatsoever. That said, I think it's silly how actors and actresses, Hollywood types, often get out in front of issues on either side, right or wrong, and advocate a position. I hope that the average American isn't influenced on matters of foreign policy, by what some star or starlet says is the right way to think about that issue.
And Jack, your thoughts?
Well, I certainly hope that there are no diplomats or elected leaders that are taking advice from Penelope Cruz, particularly on this issue. I think that her comments and a lot of the comments that are out there are very short-sighted, but also believe that every person in this world is entitled to their opinions, and celebrities are no different. It's just you have to understand that if you express an opinion, people are going to be critical of it if they don't agree with you. And in this case, a lot of people disagree with Penelope Cruz and Javier Bardem's comments about what Israel is doing to defend themselves in their own sovereign nation. And when you put something in the social media world, and if you delete it, it's still out there. People can find it. People save a picture of it, and they're going to remember what you said, and they're going to be critical of you later on down the road. And celebrities should know that better than anybody.
And Selena Gomez also weighing in on this, and she had to clarify a comment that was critical of Israel by saying that she was actually encouraging people to pray for Gaza, trying to do a little cleanup there. She was criticized by comedian Joan Rivers, who has been outspoken in her support for Israel. We have other supporters. For the first time ever, I agree with Bill Maher. He triggered a firestorm with a pro-Israel tweet saying, dealing with Hamas, it's like dealing with a crazy woman who is trying to kill you. And we also had John Voight, who weighed in and blasted some of these Hollywood types for their anti-Semitism. So sometimes we can get a good discussion, but overall, just your thoughts on Hollywood types and celebrities not really understanding fully a serious situation like this and weighing in. Jack?
Well, a lot of these celebrities are famous for several different reasons. The majority of folks that are in Hollywood are famous for acting, which is essentially they're pretending to be somebody else. They're not exactly foreign policy experts, although they may have played one on TV at some point in their career. So, again, they're welcome to express their own opinion, but if they're going to express their opinion, they need to be ready to open themselves up to a lot of criticism. And folks that are being critical of Israel right now, pretty much the consensus here in the United States is what Israel is doing is absolutely 100% accurate, just like I stand with Israel. And those folks that are being critical of Israel are having to backpedal now and clarify, like you said, Alice, because folks don't agree with what they had to say.
All right. Josh? I
think it's hard to write knowledgeably about foreign policy, in remote parts of the world. I think it's hard to write about those things with, the level of insight and the level of nuance that is important to talk about these international issues with. I think that's difficult to do when you are a Hollywood star that is concerned about other issues. And I think it's a real shame sometimes when people on any side of any issue latch on to that very important issue, simply because it seems like it's the popular thing to do at the moment. And I think that may be some of what's happened in this situation.
And it's difficult to write on any complex situation in 140 characters or less. So maybe they should all keep their day job. How about that? All right, we appreciate both of you this morning, Jack Avery and Josh Blevins. Thank you so much, and we look forward to talking to you next week.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. And we're going to take a break. When we come back, our Senator John Bozeman will join us to talk about a recent trip to the border and his thoughts on a possible executive action on the immigration issue. This segment of the Alice Stewart Show brought to you by the Countertop Store, 9817 Maumelle Boulevard. Give them a call, 888-510-4773.